you doing? This is Zach Allen. And golf is such a difficult game, right? Because there's two major aspects to it. There's the athletic, the speed, right? The physics, generating force and power. But then there's this skill-based part that's really important. And for a lot of you out there, it could maybe be more important, right? If you've got physical limitations, injuries, past surgeries, and you can't hit the ball as far as you would like to consistently, right? I know you'd always continue to work towards that, but you need to be very good at the skill of golf, right? And there's a lot of different aspects to having skill, right? Controlling your low point, controlling your strike point, controlling your face orientation consistently, controlling the path of your swing, controlling the depth of your divots or no divots. So that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. I want to kind of talk about some drills that we can do that will build skill. And with golf, there are so many different shots, right? Short game shots, bunker shots, long shots, putting shots. So our hands have to be very versatile, and they have to know and be able to replicate many different skills to hit all the different shots that we need, right? Ben Hogan was very famous for saying there's not enough time in the day to practice all the shots that we're going to use through the course of one round of golf. Okay, so I like to call this landing the plane, right? We're going to do some drills here where we're going to try and control. You notice kind of this little black piece of tape and the black piece of tape I have here. We're going to try and control the bottom of your swing arc to where it lands in the right place as often as possible, right? I could obviously have this sharper and steeper, or I could have this more shallow. So the difficulty with that is we have a variety of different swings and releases that we use. That's why I've got hack motion on, just kind of running behind, just to kind of just give you a little bit of food for thought per se, right? So I've got my sand wedge out right now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a swing, and I'm going to see if I can make this alignment, I can make the bottom of my club land on that alignment stick consistently to where I'm not hitting it so hard that it's bouncing up off the ground, or I'm not totally missing it at all. So that's a really good place to start. I'm just going to take a small half swing and then see if I can get that to land right in the right place. You'll hear too hack motion kind of picking up some of this data as I go to swing. Now here's some of the interesting stuff here, okay? When we hit full swing shots, okay, we want to see this lead wrist turning down into a slightly flexed or bowed position. When we hit some short game shots, we're going to see it go the other way. And you've got to be able to do that with a variety of different backswing lengths. So what I'm going to kind of do now, I'm going to practice more my full swing release, what I call kind of knuckles down or a little bit of a turn down. So same thing, I'm just going to take a half swing. I'm not swinging hard because it's just practicing skill. And then what we should see over here on hack motion is you notice how this line descends. That just means I'm going into flexion as I get into the golf ball, which is great. It's closing and squaring my face, and it's de-lofting the club a little bit. So you notice how that's descending, okay? So next, I want to actually still be able to hit the ground in the right place, but I'm going to let my wrist go into a little bit of extension. The thought there would be if I was hitting a small bunker shot around the greens or a higher lofted pitch, I'm going to try to feel it go into a little bit of extension. Oop, didn't track it. Let's do that one more time. So I felt like I hit the ground in the right place, right on my tape. The alignment rod did not move around too much. So you notice now I've got this line climbing and rising up to the impact interval, right? So I let the club just smoothly go this way. And there's a variety of different swings that you're going to use, right? There might be times where you're only going to here. There might be times, obviously, we're going back to a full backswing, and you've still got to kind of control those variables. So the next part, go ahead and click it over to the blue graph. The next part with this too, that's very important in controlling that landing zone, is the amount of wrist hinge we have or don't have. Okay, so this is kind of showing how much I hinge my wrist. As this goes up, I hinge my wrist up on the backswing. And remember, whatever goes up must come down. You need to unhinge to get back to impact. So we're trying to do that as consistently as possible. So let's say if I took a swing and I didn't hinge my wrist very much at all, right? Perhaps just a slight, smaller, short game swing. A little bit more of a wristless motion, right? You're going to see that didn't go quite as high. I still landed the club pretty well. Let me do one where I hinge my wrist fully. Might swing a little fuller. And I didn't quite hit the alignment rod exactly right there. I was a little high on it. But you see how much more I hinged my wrist? And then I had to deal with all that unhinging. So those are some of the big variables that get us to land the club correctly down at the bottom. So you go, well, how could I do that? Well, I would definitely get an alignment rod out, just in your living room. You do it on the driving range if you want. It's good to practice landing the club there consistently, but don't stop there. Know that there's variations of releases, backswing lengths, more hinge, less hinge. I'm going to take a bigger divot because my ball's sitting down in the ground, right? I'm going to sweep the ball off the top of the grass because it's sitting up in the rough, right? And if I hit down on a ball that's sitting up, it's probably going to ride up the face and it's going to come out short. So there's all these different things that our hands need to be able to do. And to me, I think it's very exciting, right? It's not maybe as exciting as hitting the longest drive you've ever hit, but you can beat a lot of people and lower your score just by being better and more fine-tuned with your hands, right? Having them more educated to where they can hit little different shots, like a little low draw, maybe out of the trees when you get into trouble, right? We can hit little different short game shots and maybe even spin the ball a little differently. A little bit of cut spin, a little more back spin, or no spin, right? And get it to release more. Especially too, I really try to promote this to my golfers that maybe they're not going to see a 20-yard boost in distance. How can they still get better? So you fall in love with just that skill building, right? That really goes a long ways to improving your score and getting better without necessarily that much physical effort. So take an alignment rod, take that drill out, start to try to land the club in different ways, kind of play around a little bit with some of these wrist conditions. And some of these conditions can help if you're experiencing something that you don't like. I'm hitting the ball too high. Think about practicing it with a little bit more flexion. Oh, I'm hitting the ball too low. Maybe you're actually overdoing that, and we need to let the club unhinge and line up a little bit sooner, right, as it lands and hits the ground, right? Maybe you're taking too big of a divot. You're too far ahead. So there's all these different variables that we're going to control in order to hit the ground in the same place and with the same depth. I hope that makes sense. Go out there and work on those skills, and I'll see you all next video. Thanks for watching. If you're looking for a way to get more consistency in your golf swing, then I've got just the thing for you. I've put together a 3-part training series where I walk you through an easy process with one goal in mind, giving you a more efficient, athletic, and consistent golf swing. I call it the Consistency Clinic, and you can get the entire thing free of charge by clicking the link right here. This training series isn't available anywhere else, so go ahead, click the link right now, and I'll see you on the other side.